What up, y'all? It's the Morning Hustle with L'Oreal and Kyle Santillian, and you know how we do it. Guest on guest on guest pull up on us. I'm very excited about this today, and it's really weird because it has nothing to do with music, but it has everything to do with people that we see on TV every day and we know and we love. Egypt, Sherrod, and Mike Jackson. Hey! Married to Real Estate is the show on HGTV.
Yeah.
We're bringing drama, y'all.
It might not have nothing to do with music, but we make some music. Sure.
I hear that. Y'all install the speakers in the crib to play the music. You know
what I'm talking about? Look, I'll build your house and then I'll come DJ your housewarming party.
I
Okay?
like that.
Yeah, that's
Stop
good
playing.
stuff. I'm a little excited, man, because this is the first time actually meeting both of you guys, but I remember listening to Egypt on the radio.
Yeah.
Wait. I don't like the way you just said that. You said that like you were like
It was just like a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago.
I will have you know, I am 28.
Exactly.
I know that's right.
Exactly.
I know that's
Exactly.
Kyle do got some nerve, though.
But
I'm going to let him slide.
But I was trying to put the timeline together, like knowing that you're from Philly, knowing you had your run in New York as well. But you were also on in Philly, right?
I was on in Philly, D.C., New York, Atlanta.
Yeah.
At one point in 60 cities, yeah.
That's what I'm talking
It was my
about.
jam when I started radio when I was 18. That's why.
Wow.
No, that's the truth. 18, and I did 18 years in radio, and then I retired because they didn't want us to talk anymore. Now y'all can talk again.
Yeah, because there was a point where they were just like, music. We only want to hear
Shut
the
up
music.
and play the music.
Yeah.
You can only
Yep.
talk for 60 seconds. I was like, I can't even think in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do
In
that is
60
going to be
seconds.
Yeah, you're
impactful
like,
in
why
60
am I
seconds?
here?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah, I had to go.
And I remember first seeing you on HGTV, and I was like, man, she did it right.
Yeah.
Like, how did she
That's
do
right.
that? Like, that was my first thought. Like, I remember listening to her on the radio, now watching her on TV.
Well, you know what? When I was on the radio in New York, I was also a real estate broker in New Jersey. So, it's like keep the job with the insurance benefits and then go make you gotta go build a business someplace else. So that's how it worked for me. I started selling the houses of folks I used to interview on the radio. They would come in, like Prince came in. And y'all, Prince came into my studio.
That's
Just let that
amazing.
resonate for a second.
Right.
And I was
Not your cousin Prince, like
No,
Prince,
no,
Prince,
no.
y'all.
like
The artist.
The
yes.
Prince. The Prince. The artist formerly known as.
That's right.
Sipping on a chocolate milkshake. Anyway, he sat across from me, and I did not let anybody who left that studio leave without me saying, here's my business card. I can sell you a house, too. And that's how I built my business.
That is amazing.
That's crazy.
So, like, when you went through that process, though, and you were doing radio, I'm pretty sure that took a toll on you because that's basically like you had double duty.
Listen, I made on one house flip the equivalent of 1 year's salary in radio.
Wow.
That's when I knew a sister had to go to grow.
Yeah, I was going to say so. Was it hard to go back to work after
It was
that?
very hard, right? Because now you got all this freedom. You work for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with the politics, the bureaucracy. Radio was a wonderful proving ground for me, but everything has a season, and we have to know when the season is up. So I knew, and we created an exit plan. Before I moved to Atlanta, I knew I was done in radio, but I needed a job to get me here, right?
Yeah.
So I could build my business. That's how it happened.
That's what's
That's
up.
crazy. Like, so who have you sold the house that we might know?
I signed non-disclosures.
Oh, so you can't tell us that. Oh.
No, out of respect for my clients, I can give you hints.
Okay, can you?
One of them used to host a show on BET, a really big show. Boom.
Okay.
Another one hosts a really big morning show nationally. Boom.
Wow.
And one of them was naughty by something.
Okay.
Okay. And another one is a queen of something. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you.
But was that a lot
fire,
of pressure? Because you have these people that are like you said, the queen of this and the head of this show.
You remind me of myself. I'm going to tell you that. You remind me of myself. You see how bold she is? She's got so much audacity. Like, you're hungry. That's how I was.
Yeah.
That's how I was. And so, no, there was nothing that made me scared, intimidated.
Yeah.
I made people laugh naturally. So, that was, people love to laugh, and they feel like they can relate to you.
You laughed them right out
So
their
that's what it
wallet,
was.
child.
No, I laughed them into generational wealth.
I love it.
What was it that made you move into real estate specifically? Like, you had to choose that. And I asked because I almost went there, right? So one of my jobs I lost, and you know how this job is. You might not get back in the radio. So I said, well, what am I going to do? Yeah. So I went home. I went back to Jersey, did the whole crash course, 2 weeks, real estate license, did that, passed, got my license, and ended up getting a job in 6 months back in radio. So I never actually used it. So I was almost there. But what put you in that space of
You
saying
stand in
real
that
estate?
unemployment line one good time. I'm telling you, no, it's a life changer, right?
Yeah.
Because you hear about it like, oh, I'm unemployed. Well, I'm gonna go online. Nobody's gonna see. But back then, you have to understand it was different, and you got to go stand in front of someone and sit in that unemployment office. You stand on that line one good time, and I was there. I remember a taxi cab rolled by and had one of those billboards of me on top.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, damn, y'all just go do me like,
Yeah.
what in the world? I'm on the unemployment line and there's a billboard of me like parked right here. So it was just a sobering moment to say I can never put myself in a position where someone else dictates my destiny
No doubt.
or can rip my financial future from under me. And
No
the
doubt.
one thing I know for sure is real estate is always going to be the foundation of wealth, period. They're never making any more of this earth.
Right.
So you got to get you some. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So when
Yeah.
did the connection come between you two?
When did the connection?
Hey.
Man, listen. Our connection was ordained. I say it all the time. You know, the way it happened, and this is a long story, but we're going to shorten it real quick.
Yeah.
We met on 4 different incidents, right? But every time it was 6 months in between of seeing each other. But the first time I saw her, I said, that's my wife. She was hosting an event in New York City. The first time I ever saw her, I said,
Okay.
that's my wife, right? And then the second time we saw each other, nothing transpired, no numbers exchanged. The third time I saw her, I said, okay, do you remember me from the first time? She said, yes, I'll give you my number tonight. And then,
Yes, I remember you. Take my
No, it wasn't like he kept
There's a lot
messing up,
to it.
y'all. He kept messing up. Now, remember, I was a radio personality, but I was also a music director.
look, I said I was trying to keep it
that
short.
That means everybody wants
I
you
was
to
trying
play
to
their
keep it
music.
short.
Okay.
Man, he kept giving me CDs. He kept giving me CDs. And I was like, oh, you just want me to play your CD.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
My number was on the CD.
I was flipping a house. I was flipping a house in Newark, New Jersey, and I fired the team.
Okay.
And I called my mentor. He sent a new team over, and this guy pulls up.
No.
wow.
And then,
This
yeah,
was
we
that
were
third
locked.
time?
This was
Fourth
that
time.
fourth time.
This
And
was
he
the
did he
fourth
have a
time.
CD with him that time?
That was the only day he had a tool belt, and it was looking real sexy.
Wow.
Oh,
What y'all be doing with that tool belt in the bedroom now?
look, we got 2 belts and wigs hanging on the wall, okay?
That is hilarious. So how much longer after that 4th meeting did you guys end up being married after that?
Well, it took us 6 years to actually get married.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So we canceled our first wedding.
We canceled our first wedding. Swine flu happened, right? So it wasn't just something where it was like, okay, we don't like each other. It was more so the swine flu, and we had took counseling through church, and they were like, you know what, do this before I marry you, otherwise I won't marry you,
We
right?
sent out the
I went through
wedding
that too.
invites, and like a month later had to send out the cancellations, and everybody was calling like, girl, I knew he was a cheater. I knew. They knew. They thought it was him. Oh, he messed up, didn't he? Who was it? How'd you find out? I was like, no.
See?
He's right here. We good.
But did you get mad at anybody, like to the point where you like, all right now?
A little bit.
You
Because then they
did.
start telling you things, and you're like, you made that up just now. Like, why did you? You know what
Oh
I
my
mean?
God,
And
that's
you-
crazy.
Yeah.
Mind you, 21 years here. 21 years.
I
right
know
here.
that.
Okay. We ain't going nowhere. Get used to it. Get used to
I
it.
don't even remember swine flu.
I remember.
You don't remember Obama shut down Mexico, and he was like, "Can nobody travel there because
I
of
don't
swine flu?"
remember.
And our wedding was supposed to be in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so now HGTV, the first time they approached you, you're good. The first time they approached you to do anything together, like how did that call go? How was the reaction? Did y'all know it was coming, or were you like,
They didn't call us.
I was about to
They
say.
didn't call us. So I had already been on HGTV hosting a few shows, and the day it was done, it was we'd moved on. I think I was off for like 3 years, and we were in COVID. Mike just started filming our life and our business on his cell phone, and we would watch it back and laugh. I'm like, there's a show here.
Yeah.
So we edited it into a reel, and then we decided to pitch it. And we were like, let's take this to HGTV. If not, we're going to Netflix.
yeah.
And we took it to HG, but they were like, y'all aren't going anywhere. We love this. This is what we're looking for. So 4 years
That's
later,
amazing.
82 countries
From
later.
the cell phone?
From his cell
From the
phone.
cell
so
phone.
What everybody should learn from that is we're always waiting on the right opportunity, always waiting on the right funding, always waiting on the right equipment. Use what you have where you are and create. Don't wait, create.
Facts. It's another interesting aspect in that too, because we watch HGTV so much in my house, right? It's like, how many different ways can they create a show to fix up another house?
Right, exactly.
But it goes to show that are we watching the show because of the houses or the personalities?
Yeah. You know,
what I mean?
it's funny that you say that because one of my main objectives with the show is to make it feel like it was a sitcom. And oh, by the way, you get to see some renovation. And that's what we get stopped about a lot. A lot of our fans, which we call FAMs, FAMS, approach us because of the transparency. They see themselves in our show. You know, they're like, hey, listen, my daughters and my little kids are watching your show. When you hear that, you're like, wow, we're making an impact. You feel what I'm saying?
That's not what the aunties watch for.
Oh, God, here we go.
That's not what the aunties watch for. You know, the aunties, you know, they stop me at Costco and they watch for Mike. That's what they make me hold their purse while they take his pictures. Just be clear. Hey, girl, here, let a grown woman show you how it's done. You know, let a grown woman show you how it's done. Come here, Mike, boy, come. And put his hand in there.
Oh, my God.
Come here, boy. You know.
And
so,
Mike, what do you be doing when all this happens?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you.
But in fairness, can the uncles take those same pictures with Egypt?
Well,
No, sir. No, sir.
My tush has been grabbed a few times.
Oh, wow.
A few times. I just can't tell this one right here.
So, you know what? I have a question. When people have a situation where maybe they have like sentimental values or like their family was in this home and they don't want to get rid of, like, what is the way that you can kind of ease them into a situation to get them to kind of get comfortable with renovating?
Tough love with a hug. You know, the reason I'm here is because you have a goal in mind. So let's keep ourselves focused on the goal. But we had a few clients, actually. Remember Africa and Gregory, his dad passed away and left him the house. And he grew up in this house. So every time we swung a sledgehammer, it was like waterworks, you know.
Man.
So we were like, look, we're going to step back until you tell us that you're ready. So showing patience. But then we just did Miss Peggy, my favorite. I love Miss Peggy. We just redid her entire home. She didn't want to leave because she believed her husband is still there. He had passed away, and they raised their entire family. You got to be sensitive to this stuff, you know. People really are attached to their homes. You know, this is their life. These are their memories. So we just try to be respectful, but at the end of the day, say, all right, so do you want this new house or not? You know, do you want it? But you let us know when you're ready for us to continue.
And have you seen any spirits in these homes? Because if they saying that their husband died,
I have in Savannah though. When we were doing houses in Savannah, Georgia, yes, ma'am, the whole crew ran up out of house. Yes, we did. I was like, y'all don't pay me enough.
What did you see?
Yeah, like what happened?
Oh, Mike, you remember? I was saying.
I remember.
So we pulled up to the set, and our entire crew was on the curb. And they were supposed to be in there already filming. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm supposed to just come and get my shots. What are y'all doing? And they're like, we're not going in. The light bulbs keep busting every time we put new on. I said, oh, that's just old electric.
Right.
Come on, we're going to go up in here. Bring the spotlight, bring everything. We're going to get this done. And our cameraman, Rory, he's white, but he was like frost white. When I walked in, he's like, Egypt, something keeps going in front of the camera. He says, look, like you don't see anything when you stand here, right? He says, but look in the camera. You see it? And I did. I was like, what is that? It was like orbs just moving across. And I said, well, I'm more afraid of the living than I am the dead. Let's get this shot. Let's do this. So we start shooting. Baby, we got up to the second floor, and I pulled the attic door down, and I heard all this rustling up there.
Oh, heck nah.
And I closed the door, walked out. I said, I will not be the black person killed in the beginning of the movie.
No.
I'm out of here. But yeah, everybody ran out the house. We were done.
Wow.
But that wasn't the first or the last time, but that was probably one of the most memorable.
Well, did y'all end up being able to fix the house?
No. Oh, this was the different show. This was property version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just left that
Yeah,
property
that's
where it
what I
was.
I left that one.
I know that's right.
You talked about pulling up to the house and going in and getting your shot. And we know that the New York Times tried to discredit some of y'all work, saying that's all y'all do is pull up and get a shot.
So let's be clear. When I
Yeah.
just talked about that, I was hosting Property Versions.
Okay.
And Property Versions, I did 8 seasons of that show. The premise of the show is we're doing house tours. So yeah, we pull up,
Yep.
we go in, we tour the house, we get our shots, and we leave on that show. Married to Real Estate, we are there from the nitty to the gritty.
Yeah.
And the New York Times, I don't really want to give them too much more airplay.
We gave them a lot of we gave them a lot of love, even addressing it. But we don't have to address them to say what we really do.
Right.
You know, when on these projects, you have my company, Jackson Draper Renovations, and all our teams, our subs, et cetera, are actually doing the work. The client books us, and then we actually do the work. Indigo Road design is actually incorporated. You feel what I'm saying? So it exists. There's a tangible brick and mortar office.
Of course, we have teams. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
what the hell are y'all supposed to be building brick by brick? Everything I'm lost.
I think because on the show, you see 42 minutes of Mike and I literally doing that, right? That if you're renovating a house over 3 months, then someone's like, no, you're not. I saw your team and I saw your design assistant and I saw and it's like, yes, we run companies. We're CEOs.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes, but we are in there. So if you condense that to 42 minutes,
Now,
that's what you see.
Here's the thing people have to understand as well. And when I say people, I'm talking about those people, if you understand what I'm saying, is that outside of the show, we still have jobs going on as well. And again, like my wife said, we own the companies. You know, you don't see the owner of this here pushing the buttons, right? But they have their teams doing it. So for us, there are times where we actually are in there until 4 a.m., 5 a.m. doing it because it's like, okay, our teams only get paid up to a certain amount and we still need to meet deadlines. So we might as well jump in here ourselves. There's been plenty of times where we do that, right?
Many nights I've called him and I'm like, you need to come home, Mike. Like, you need some sleep. This is not human. He's there working when the cameras ain't on. You know, all the crafts and special projects you see on the show, I'm in there doing that when the cameras are on or off.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they're just tougher on us as black people because when they say Elon Musk owns the company, they act like he built every single Tesla that came out the factory. Like, and he didn't even come up with the idea of Tesla.
Nope.
He actually paid another person for their idea.
Yes.
So they give him all the credit. But when it comes to, I feel like a beautiful black couple, of course you got to find a way to diminish.
You know, I don't care when people talk mess because that's what they do. You know, I got tough skin. I come from this game right here. You got to have tough skin. I don't mind that. Just spell my name right. But say it right, spell it right. But what I minded about this particular instance is the erasure of the black man because Mike is clearly very much the co-host, co-executive producer.
Yes.
Nothing gets done in these houses if it's not Mike. And we conducted the interview together. We conducted the photo shoot together.
Okay.
It was about us being together. And again, there was this intentional erasure of him there. No, you know, you don't see him anywhere in it. So that, to me, boiled my skin because it was a choice that was made.
Right.
But also I feel like, you know, as a black woman, we're often unprotected. Why use my photo? Why use my photo and then trash a whole industry? You know, they were trashing the whole home television industry. Not even our show, but like the whole television.
Yeah.
Why use my photo?
Right.
Which is
When
crazy.
you never,
Because it's entertainment. So to break down and just say, okay, they're not going to make you the face of home renovation as far as for the great side of it. They're going to take it and try to use your picture for the downside, which is disgusting.
Well, I'll say this. That's what makes our stories worth writing and our book worth reading.
Yeah.
Right? Because one day when I write a book, baby, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I know it is.
I'm surprised you ain't got one
It's
yet.
gonna be that
Did
type
you
of book.
start?
Well, no, I have my book, my real estate book. It was
Yeah.
number one in its genre. But I'm talking about one day, like
No,
when
your real story.
when we tell our real stories.
Yeah, I'm talking about the story from the radio
I'm talking
to.
about going all the way back
Oh,
to
that's
radio.
what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
we
waiting
need
for
that.
that one. That's
I'm gonna
what I'm
make it a
waiting.
whole series. It's gonna be
There's
on
some
Netflix,
stuff
y'all.
in there.
Who's the first person you would throw under the bus?
I can't say I can't say anything about her because she is not well right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Facts,
Obviously, that was a
facts.
public
Yeah.
thing
And,
that you
I
got.
have kept her lifted in prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would not wish what she's going through on my worst enemy.
I said the same thing once I saw that. Because did you get a chance to check out the documentary at all?
I did.
Compared to now, though, she does seem like she's well. They're talking about she's going to do a show
I
with
hope
Don
so.
Lemon.
I hope so. That'll be a great comeback.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I
then
mean?
you can say what you got to say.
No, my story, it wasn't so much about her as just the experience around that time. Yeah. But I do, that saddens me. There's been many times, you know, that I've heard her story and I just want to get like everybody to help her. Like, how does that happen? Now, she was never my favorite.
Yeah.
I wasn't hers.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was one of the historic spars or
Very
awards
much
in
so.
radio.
Very much so.
Like literally
Yeah.
in the lobby of 3 Park Avenue.
Which is crazy.
Nice.
But again, like we grow, because I think I must have been 22 right back then. And so you live a little bit, you grow, you learn, you start to understand people's pain and how it shows up and how, you know, the hate was never really about me.
Right.
It was about the battles that she was fighting internally. And so all you could do for people like that is keep them lifted and in prayer.
And then you have to think about it like you've also escaped. I'm gonna say escape this industry because it can be detrimental to your mental health or whatever. And I do feel like maybe that's something that took a toll. Do you feel like, where do you feel like you would be right now if you continued on with radio and didn't get into the real estate side?
I wouldn't have, because I the one thing I am grateful for is discernment. And I know when it's time to go from any situation. Like, I'll see the signs and I'll tell Mike in advance, like, just so you know, so here's the exit plan.
Right.
And honestly, I don't enter any business relationship anymore without an exit plan.
I know that's
Before
right.
you even start.
Like, well,
Right.
no, when this, and this happens, this is when we know it's time to shift.
Right. Time to get up out of there.
But it was a
Absolutely.
great proving ground. I mean, listen, y'all are doing fantastic on
Yes, you
radio.
are.
We
Thank
listen
you.
to you, we enjoy you. You know,
you.
you make us laugh. Your voice is iconic, just so you know.
Thank you.
And
Yep,
so,
staple.
you know, so it's an incredible proving ground. And without radio, without Miss Hughes gave me
Ah,
my
Miss
first
H.
shot.
There you go.
I stalked
The
her,
goat.
y'all.
Oh, did you? Let's hear this. Yes, she would love this.
Stalked her. I couldn't afford to get into the Vibe Music Conference, and I was going to Temple University. I think I was 17 or 18 years old, and I heard about Miss Hughes. And I'm like, wow, she did what? This black lady started radio stations. I got to meet her, but I couldn't get her on the phone. This is back when we used to actually mail resumes.
Yes.
You didn't know if your resume landed.
it,
You
right.
didn't email stuff
Right.
back then, right? Ooh, dang, yeah. So,
Put it out
Did
there.
facts exist yet? No.
right? Dang, L'Oreal. You just took it there. So, man, me and one of my girlfriends, we drove in her hoopty with the door taped. Right? I remember when it would stop, I had to get behind it and give it a push and then go run and jump in the car.
one of
That's
them.
how hoopty it was.
I love that.
And we drove that little hoopty all the way to New York City, and we were outside the Vibe conference. They wouldn't let us in without our bands. Now, this is where the North Philly came out of me. Girl, I went and snuck around the back
I
to
know
where the
that's right.
kitchen staff
I know
was.
that's right. Let's
Slipped
go.
up to that door,
Hey.
ran into the bathroom, changed my clothes, came
Right.
back out, and sat front row.
That's how you do it. That's how
Somebody
you
got
do
us.
Best
it.
seat in the house.
Somebody got it for that front row. I said front row. And the minute they opened it up for questions on her panel, I was like, I need to know how someone can come and work for you.
Right.
Because I sent my resume and I've heard nothing back.
Oh my God! I know that's
And that
right.
got you the job. huh?
Yes.
No, it got me in the door. It got me an internship in Philly.
I
Yeah,
love
but that's what
that.
matters,
I
though.
love that.
Mike,
But
how
that's
about you?
always been a go-getter.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mike,
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
Yeah, we
Come on,
giving up
Mike.
all the
We're
goods
here.
today.
All
There's
right.
people in the
He said,
room.
we're not giving
Giving
uncles
up
nothing out here.
Giving them up. Yeah.
How about you, bro? Because you do so much, a jack of all trades, and now you're the new face of Smart Home 2025.
Uh-huh.
First and foremost, before we
Thank
get
you.
to the smart home part, what allowed you, or what was it that got you into learning so many different aspects of this industry?
Wow, bro. So I started as a DJ, right? Traveling the world, literally. And I did my first event when I was 12 years old. But at that same
Wow.
time, I was doing construction with my grandfather and my uncle.
Okay.
Because they had their own construction company.
Okay.
So they would bring me along and say, come learn this trade, come learn it because this is something you're going to need to know. So as I grew older, still DJing worldwide, I started getting into the trades more. So I went to school for it in Jamaica, Queens. It was a trade company.
He's so modest. He was touring with Carlos Santana and Wyclef.
Oh my
Anyway,
God,
you was
that's
DJing somebody
Maria. You know that song, Maria.
Anyway.
Maria? That's
Some
him.
people.
That's
Anyway.
him
You're DJing
scratching
on
on
So
Maria,
big shout out to
Yeah.
Sincere Money Harm. They're the voices behind Maria, Prodigy and B. That's my team.
Played by
Hempstead, Long Island.
Carlos Santana.
Yeah. So, that got me around the world playing for that. But when it came to the construction part, I joined Local 28 in Jamaica, Queens. That's where I was doing the tradesmen, the journeymen. And then when we got to Georgia, I opened up Jackson Draper Renovations, LLC, and we're doing amazing construction-wise. So I've always been doing both. Now, with the real estate, I'm a real estate agent as well. I only got my license because of this one here. So she's like, babe, listen, I keep referring too many people. Why don't you just become an agent? This way I can keep it in-house. So I became an agent. Uncle Mark on the show became an agent. So we kept it all in-house. And so now real estate, construction, design, and the DJ aspect was like there. It was
That's
inevitable.
fire.
You feel what I'm saying?
I know y'all house has got to be crazy. I feel like anybody that hosts a show on HGTV and builds other people's dreams,
No.
I know
You're
your house
wrong.
got to be
Or,
crazy.
You're wrong.
or is
It's
it
the
like a
complete opposite.
hairstylist when her hair be
that's
kind of
exactly-
messed up?
It's like a cobbler. The cobbler kids have no shoes.
no,
That's
no,
it. I
no.
have so many unfinished projects in my home.
That ain't got nothing to do with it not being crazy, though.
What do you mean?
When he say crazy, I mean it's like it's a good house to live in.
Yeah, it's a great
Okay?
house to live in. Why? Any roof over your head is a great house to live in.
Yeah, that's right.
But it started out, it was supposed to be a flip house. And then we wound up getting stuck in it after COVID. Why? Because all the family moved within a mile radius. And when you have kids, you need childcare. So we will not leave. But
Right.
No, but if you should have a million, like everywhere I look, all I see are projects. And he's like, I don't have the time.
But first of all, who started those projects?
You.
That's not the answer he thought he was gonna get.
Yes, I started the projects because you said here's the projects you need to be done.
I intended for you to finish.
Look at y'all arguing. It's about to be unmarried to real estate in here.
I need some help because, like, some people talk about our studio. In the background, they say I look a little dingy, right? So if we ain't got no buck, but say we got a little bit of a buck, what could we do?
You could DIY this.
Yeah, you can.
Well, for starters, it's all of the drop ceilings being out of place. So you know what you could do.
I call that the sunroof. So that's not a sunroof.
That's not a sunroof.
It's called drops. Okay.
So I would spray it all black, number one, because that'll make it disappear.
Okay.
And then where you have all of these cross beams and the supports, I would spray those out because the light blue is making it pop more. So get rid of that blue.
It clashes with my hair.
Change the mural, and that's it. That's really all y'all got to do in here is modernize the mural, spray out the
Like
What time can y'all be back then?
Like,
It sounds like a good project for your show.
Next episode of Married to Real Estate.
I ain't never seen y'all do a radio station.
hey, listen, season 5,
We got y'all.
Radio 1, cut the check.
Well, we ain't got no money, so that's why we coming to y'all.
Do it. Y'all
You
wanna
know
do
where we
it?
work, radio.
Right.
Do it. I'll give y'all a new mural. We can do this.
Yay!
That's the part we edit out.
You're not really gonna do it. You sending somebody else in.
New York Times.
Would you be willing to accept an apology from the New York Times?
They're not going to give one. They stood behind what they said because essentially they said we weren't talking about her. Like, we really didn't say anything bad about her. And I'm like, no, the problem is y'all came in on set, interviewed us, left him out the picture, and used my picture over a very mediocre story, you know, about, like, why not talk about, and this is the problem, why not talk about a successful Black family? Why not showcase folks who are doing it, really doing it, like building? We have a conglomerate. Like, why not talk about that? Yeah. Why choose the negative path? That was my only thing. And I think that a lot of folks that have platforms can be bullies. But the beauty of social media now is that we can pipe back. We can speak back. And so, choose your weapons wisely.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing about being a Scorpio is I will protect my family and my business and my reputation to the death.
I hear that. Would you guys ever think of expanding back to your hometowns? Could you do the show in Philly? Do the show in New York?
Well, yeah, we actually we talk about it a lot where season 5, season 6, whatever, where we go back to our hometowns and do something there, because I would love to go back to Hempstead, Long Island and do something. I get asked all the time. I actually have 2 teams there as well.
Okay.
To where I have them on standby. Say, listen, guys, if we decide to, be ready.
I got a few projects for you in Philly.
Are you from Philly?
Yeah.
You from Philly?
That's why I said I used to listen to you.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got a few projects.
Temple
you know
University,
what I'm saying?
Bonani.
Oh, you know exactly where you at. We used to hang out at Club McDonald's right
Did
there
you
on Temple
really?
campus. We used to be on Delaware.
Club
Ave.
McDonald's.
Wherever I go, somebody's always from New York, but I don't really hear folks shouting Philly. So
Philly
that,
for sure.
that feels good.
So they got a few projects for you. So hopefully we can make it happen.
Okay.
Are you still DJing at all, Mike?
Oh yeah. Look, that's never. So for instance, it's
He'll be
like
72.
He's like, for somebody small, Kendrick Lamar.
Turntable.
You might have heard of him.
think about it.
So he built a nightclub in his own.
Here's the thing about that. Now, even though we're joking about it, but it's funny how in the Black community there's always an age limit on stuff, right?
I hate that.
Some of the most dynamic worldwide DJs in other communities are of age.
Let's talk about
right? You feel what I'm saying? And making tons of money. They never get, you're still gonna be DJing. Are you gonna do this? I mean, think about the Beastie Boys.
Yes.
Their DJ is phenomenal.
We're going to talk about Vanilla Ice too?
Nah, he's not DJing. See, look, you don't even know your music.
Yeah, right.
Who we going to talk about? Who we going to talk about, Mike? Who we going to talk about? We're going to be 75 on turntables. Just
I like
know that.
that.
Shout out to the mayor, Jermaine Dupree. He still DJs. Right?
It's true.
It's
Brian
Sure.
Michael Cox, what up? Still DJs.
Still making it happen.
Still killing it. You feel what
They
I'm saying?
still outside in the club every
Still
night,
outside
too.
in the clubs.
Is that
Facts.
what we doing here,
Not if
Egypt?
it
No.
wants to stay back.
No.
That's how how we do
Because
it.
I just see JD at Magic City.
No. He has a time limit on the number of nightclubs he can.
Yeah, I don't think HGTV is gonna approve of you in Magic City every night. Either.
Yeah, we not doing that.
Just tell them you're
It might be
renovating.
HGTV after dark.
Yo, we appreciate y'all being here, man. Y'all are great.
Yeah.
We watch y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. We want everybody to tune into everything y'all got going on.
Thank you.
So what's the last thing you want to leave with the hustlers before we, wrap this thing
Yeah,
up?
y'all got to check out the Marriage and Money podcast, right? Follow me, DJ Fidelf, DJ FADELF on IG, social media. You got to make sure you check out the fact that my wife is dropping her furniture line, connecting with JCPenney's, her partnership.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So this coming weekend, we're in 300 plus JCPenney.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Yes, we're very excited for Indigo Rose. So be sure to look out. And then our show tonight. This is Aaron Wednesday.
What's that?
We gotta
Friday?
figure out what day.
Wednesday, Aaron. Oh, okay. Well, if y'all air
You gotta
tomorrow,
figure
we're
out
here
which
tonight.
day.
I don't know. Whatever.
So on Wednesday.
Yeah, we're on Wednesdays. Married to Real Estate on Wednesdays.
9 p.m.
Yes, and you can stream it on Max.
I
Well,
love
you can
that.
stream it on Max. You can stream it on Discovery Plus. We found out we're on Hulu.
Wow.
I just saw us on Apple
Amazon?
Plus last night.
Yeah.
And Prime Amazon. Yeah.
Damn near everywhere. I know that's right. My last question. What do y'all think about those tiny homes?
Oh, the micro homes?
Yeah, the micro homes that people are doing.
I think there's a market for it. We represented a community here on the South Side, sold them out really fast. I can never live in one.
They're
though.
too small
They're
for
too-
me.
For me, it's for a certain person, especially
Yeah.
like somebody who's trans and you want to drop your bags. Maybe you hop city to city. It's for somebody young,
Small, like
single,
Kyle.
and
Like he could fit in.
you see how she tried to pull me in there on her shenanigans. She tried to put me in on her shenanigans.
She did.
She's like, yes.
Don't go
I
for it, Egypt. Don't go for it.
You can do a cartwheel in
See,
there.
this is Philly right here. Now that I know this is Philly.
Thank you.
Switch
Hold me
sides.
down.
What?
He can stretch.
Hold
he
me
can
down.
even reach the top cabinet.
You know what? On that note, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Egypt, Sherrod, Mike Jackson, man, married to real estate and
Yes.
everything else. Y'all
Yes.
own HGTV at this point.
Thank you.
But thank y'all so much for everything that y'all doing.
We appreciate
Yay.
y'all. Much success.
That's ready. You know, folks these days, they run you in and run you out of interviews. I'm like, oh, they're doing a real interview. It's a real one. Thank you. We had fun with y'all.
Yo, you hell talk about he can do a cartwheel.
What? He can. He can. From the top. He
You
can.
just let her handle you like that.
Hey, L'Oreal, no.
He said this little guy.
Too funny. Well, thank y'all. It was a great
thank
interview.
you.
That was a lot of fun.
Pictures right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Almost got Angel to say yes, like no, not
I
like.
know.
She almost said
Well,
yes.
of course.
Yeah, like oh no.
A little lad like yourself.
All right,
No,